We know that a game is of a certain quality when that game has excellent bosses, and today I would like to examine what Resident Evil Requiem had to offer us by ranking the bosses from worst to best. This is my personal opinion and I would very much like to hear yours in the comment section down below. Also, please like and subscribe if you really like the video, it'll really help the channel grow, and without further ado, let's get on with the ranking. This is your Devil Crow and let's do this. Now from the start only I had mixed emotions even in the build up of this fight. Whilst I like the part that you rappel down into a giant hole, the constant attacks by the plants you get when you traverse the linear path irritated the hell out of me. And then when we finally arrive at the boss fight, I can't help but see that it was lackluster in almost all aspects. Its moveset was very generic. It'll sometimes hit with this left branch, then the right one, and all you're doing is running left to right and vice versa, waiting for the opportunity to hit it. And it sometimes irritated me so much that I didn't even bother to run around dodging its branches and just got in a couple of extra shots, because the good part is that it'll help the fight get over very quickly. The bad part is that it hits like a truck. And to top it off, it even had a lackluster conclusion because you just have to blow up some barrels nearby just to see the weed burn away. I hated it so much that even on Insanity difficulty, I just used the rocket launcher to get rid of it. It's the only boss I used it on, so there it is for you, the worst boss out there. I think it was meant to be a love letter of sorts to all the Australians in the world, because this giant spider would bother Leon for quite a bit. As soon as he enters Raccoon City, you begin with a scripted chase sequence. And then, when you finally reach a sort of open area, you finally encounter the boss. Now, it's a decent boss fight, okay? I would say this, that is very decent. You know, you have to run across or run through narrow spaces, luring the spider to a certain position, and then hitting its weak spot with your strongest weapons. The thing is, because of why this spider ranks so low, it's because it could be very easy. If you know the spots to lure the spider to, like the ones having those cylinders, you shoot them, the spider is stunned, and you hit it with all you got. Plus, he also gives plenty of time to figure out where you have to go first. You know, map your route as you go through the boss fight. Even on Insanity difficulty, he gives a lot of time for you to figure out what to do. Now, because of the fact that it doesn't have any proper phases or sequences, and also it was a very easy fight, that's why I am ranking it here. It really did not manage to keep me that much interested or invested in it. Now this is where the bosses step up for me. The moment you come across Chunk, you see him doing what he does best, eat everything at sight, and then you manage to get a few hits on him, and you might even end up stunning him so that you can hit it with your hatchet. The thing I love about this boss fight is how it always manages to keep me on my toes and on the edge. The fear, the adrenaline in me, it's nearly at its peak in this fight, because you have to navigate these tight corridors whilst ensuring Chunks doesn't catch up to you. And on Insanity difficulty, he is pretty fast. The guy is like the Flash, okay? Now the key is to keep your distance, lure him, and when you finally get an opening, hit him with all you got. Just enough that you can use your hatchet and eventually finish him off. Chunks ranks here only because of my preference for boss fights to have diverse movesets that make you adapt to them. But apart from that, if atmosphere and thrill was my preference, this one would certainly be a top 3. I mean, the atmosphere and his dialogue that, you know, more, when he's chasing you and he's battering against the walls, he's ramming himself and he's getting stuck at walls, and you know, you're figuring out where to go. It's very, very tight, and that always scares the hells out of me whenever I replay the game on Insanity difficulty, okay? So that's why Chunk ranks here. Not technically a boss fight in my opinion, but I had to place the girl on this list because we can't have Leon taking all the spotlight, can we? Now, the girl does a good job at being a stalker, and all the 3 times you have to evade her in the game, they're executed really greatly. You can hear her footsteps and the rattle of her chains anytime you're progressing towards your objective, and she can even corner you sometimes, and you have to be smart and use the concept of light, hurting her smartly as well. Whether it be using joint plugs in the basement section, at various distributor systems, or by opening up temporary lights at the water plant. When you're trying to open up the roof, she's terrifying, she has good lore backing her up, and her presence is felt in the game. But since she's not a traditional boss, I cannot place her any higher on this list. Now Mr. X was the only boss I beat on my first attempt on Insanity, a fact of which I am very proud of, but that doesn't mean he was the easiest boss fight. I was able to do it because I had a good understanding of parrying his attacks and when to open fire on his chest so that I could kill him. Now he does have a fun element to him because of how great the parrying animations and sound effects are, and the fact that he's so important to the lore and you're fighting him one-on-one does supplement his case. But like most of the bosses in this game, the boss fight is a very short one and it isn't long enough for me to place it higher on this list. He has decent movesets, but even they tire out after a while as they become too obvious. He'll charge at you, he'll throw cars at you, and even have some combos, but he really isn't much of a threat, okay? It's kind of a very scripted boss fight. But if you're even decent with the combat of Resident Evil 9, you can wrap him up pretty easily. That's why he ranks here. Super fun, but super short and easy as well. Now even this fight isn't traditionally a boss fight, but on spectacle and thrill alone, I gotta have this in my top 3. This was by far my favorite part of Leon's campaign in this game, and honestly it's pretty obvious why. Absolutely mind-boggling stunts? Check. Drive through with mutated dogs to keep you on your toes? Check. Having a badass chase sequence with your enemy having a rocket launcher aimed at you? Check. And a super satisfying conclusion to the boss fight? Check. This section showed us how badass both Leon and Victor Gideon are, and I'm all for it. But since it's not really a boss fight, we can't have it claiming the top spot now, can we? But it is still pretty damn awesome and fun to play, even on subsequent playthroughs. That's why it's third. Now this was a tough one for me to decide. Actually not tough at all, it was kind of obvious in subsequent playthroughs, but I am placing Hunk at the second spot. Now remember I told you that I prefer humanoid bosses to the gigantic ones. Couple that with fan favoritism and a boss which has multiple phases, multiple attacks, and you've got a great boss. In everyone's favorite Grim Reaper, Hunk, aka the Commander. Now I was honestly shocked by two things here. First, Hunk even being in this game, and second, how quickly he dabs out of it. Like the only problem I have with this boss fight is it's too damn short. But let's tackle that later. The reason why Hunk ranks here is not only because it is so cool and fun to parry his attacks, but also the fact that on Insanity, I had to learn and master his timings because he kept killing me again and again and again because I messed up my timing so much. Hunk is quick and dangerous because he can pull out combos that might take you by surprise. He moves zigzag and then he shows you the 2-piece and then he one-taps you. It's just like that. And if you're caught in his combos on Insanity mode, you're done for, okay? You're cooked. His last phase where he causes the whole room to be shrouded in smoke becomes far more taxing on Insanity because he uses much more of his rifle, and he genuinely surprised me a couple of times as I couldn't keep track of him only. I like that he made me learn his patterns, and every time I got killed, I knew that I screwed up. My only problem with this boss fight is it's too short. Either you kill him very quickly or he kills you very quickly. Plus, I like the concept that we're in a tight space where movement is limited and close quarters is the only way, because I would have liked it much more if it had been something like Krauser's fight in RE4 Remake. Jack Krauser. Honestly, the top spot for me became very obvious because of this minor flaw that I have. And the top spot goes to Victor Gideon. Victor Gideon being the big bad of this game honestly did not surprise me, okay? It honestly did not surprise me that he would end up being the final boss of the game. And also, the best one. Victor might just be the hardest one too. When you start, he'll be charging at you and unleashing properly chained combos that might shatter your axe if you're not timing it perfectly, or you're not conservative with your use. In this boss fight, I also had to be a tad bit more aggressive than usual as he has a bit more health than all the other bosses in the game in my opinion. The best aspect though by far in this fight is the use of the parrying mechanic. It's at its peak over here. Parrying gives you both satisfaction and a very much needed opening to rain down bullets on Victor. Moreover, after a while, he will jump and charge himself with electricity. This is great because it gives you time to recollect yourself and also collect the resources around you to help in the fight. After which, he'll do some AoE attacks and then you're back face to face. But then he'll be much more aggressive, very quick, and he'll have heavy hitting combos which killed me quite a lot on Insanity. He can also jump directly above you and hit you and even fire his rocket launcher, which you'll be able to perfectly parry. It will backfire on him. But anyways, I liked Victor's boss fight the most, okay? And there's not much I can complain about him, apart from the second phase, which turned out to be a nemesis and an absolute joke of a phase, especially considering how dangerous the OG nemesis was. But anyways, this is my ranking. Let me know which was your favorite boss fight, what were your top 3 in the comment section down below. Also, please don't forget to like and subscribe. This is the Devil Crow, and I'll see you in the next one. See you.